Meanwhile, joining us now for market and trading reaction is Diana Avigdor. She's Vice President and also Portfolio Manager and Head of Trading at Barometer Capital Management. Diana, always good to see you, and thanks for coming in today. It's a very, very different day for Canadians and market participants, certainly. When you saw the news, what was your reaction? What did you do?
Nothing. Honestly, this is not a situation that you need to react to right away. The day started out quiet. The day is currently down 20% on volume. What you see on volume is mostly in the futures market, which is a lot more accessible in one shot. So, you know, if a global portfolio manager wants to do some hedging based on what's going on, just in case, because that's what mainly going on today, right now. It's people putting on hedges or security just in case this develops to be into a bigger story or a bigger problem.
Right.
From our portfolio management perspective, we stick with the fundamental news. There are lots of them. There's lots of other things driving Canadian market, including the DOE inventories, including Bank of Canada, including retail sales today. And so what's happened when after the news, this news hit the tape, it just, activity kind of grinded to a halt. Nobody's doing anything. So if you were a buyer, because the market looked like it was going to be flat today, plus minus 30 beeps, that would have been wonderful.
Right.
So you pull away from your buy tickets, and you just stay quiet.
You know, Diana, it's interesting. It's almost, I'm hearing you in the sense that, you know, if you're staying almost away from the market and the volumes are down, and maybe that's one of the reasons why the market is now down over 1%, that's maybe today's reaction to what's going on, because we still have many unknowns. What about the more medium-term outlook in terms of what this might develop into? I ask you that in the sense that we did get a tweet from Rafi Tamazian, who's the head of Canoe Financial. He tweeted out that, you know, from a medium-term perspective, that if this does develop into something that's even more serious or has a longer-term impact as it relates to increasing austerity measures from some sort of way, that can have a negative impact on the economy. How do you view those kind of comments? These are your colleagues who are also participants in the market, of course.
Of course, and that is the obvious connection, that if this gets worse, things will get impacted. We talked about earlier with one of your coworkers at BNN that, you know, consumer spending and all that type of thing, everything will be affected. Global interest in Canadian markets as a weight might be impacted. But you can't, if you're a money manager, or if you're an investor, you need to stick to your discipline. You need to make sure that there's many ways to make money, and stick to yours. Ours is, we stick discipline to our stop losses. We only buy strength. There's no strength, we do not redeploy the cash. So the cash keeps accumulating if there is no strength to be had. Go with your strong names. No need to pick bottoms. You don't know where the bottom is. It's not about maximizing your return, it's about having a return. And, you know, as an investor, whether you're a private investor or you have somebody managing your money, know your volatility tolerance, not so much your risk tolerance, but your volatility tolerance. You may be saying to yourself, I have a diversified portfolio and I'm okay with losing 20% on this one stock over a period of time, but I may not want to have my portfolio go up and down 10%. I can't handle that. So you can overlay some futures or write some calls on your favorite names, and then just take out the volatility out of your portfolio. We can do that because that triggers wrong decisions. The volatility that we see now, particularly if you overlay a narrative that is very scary, and we as Canadians are not used to this,
right?
It'll trigger some decisions that you may not want to have.
And Diana, you bring up a great point in the sense that as Canadians, we are not used to this. You were in the business, I was in the business, living in the States when 9/11 happened. And, you know, you have to almost have a different mindset when these things do in fact happen. And particularly, though, when we're not used to having it happen in our own country. How do you think that that is almost going to change? If not, I'm hearing from you right now, it's not. But I'm sure when you leave here, you and your colleagues are going to have a huddle and you're going to talk about what to do next, and you're going to try to find out more and more information.
But it's going to matter, and as you know, after 9/11, it got worse before it got better. It really tested people's investment strategy. The next day it got worse, and then whoever did not sell on the first day said, oh, this is not getting better. And then the next day it got even worse until everybody threw in the towel, and that's when it started getting better. So looking back and learning from that volatility, you know that the fear factor takes over first. And so when we huddle, we need to make sure that we love our stocks, and this is why we stick to our discipline. It takes the emotion out of the investing. You have your stop losses. This is what you tolerate. And it's okay if you got taken out and then it rallied back and you left $2 on the table on your favorite stock that you're supposed to double your money on. Again, it's not about being in there at the absolute bottom. It's about being in there at the right price. Like anything, whatever you buy, investment strategy or anything else, consumer related, it's what you get for the right price. And from an investment perspective, that volatility tolerance and that risk tolerance, that all plays into the return strategy.
Diana, what did you exactly see almost minute by minute, moment by moment as this news has been developing throughout the day in terms of the market action?
Yeah, so the morning started out, yesterday was very, very busy on trading desks.
We're also, of course, back with Diana Avigdor. And Diana, let's talk a little bit about what we did, in fact, here. I think a couple of the key messages certainly is that it's very much a dynamic situation, that it is evolving, that they are undergoing an operation on Parliament Hill to make it secure and also to evacuate. Those are some of the key takeaways. Diana, we also heard a lot of questions that really went unanswered at this moment, given the fact that it is very much an evolving situation. What is your reaction to some of what we heard?
I feel that they have a toughest time right now. They need to communicate with us, and at the same time, they don't have answers. They're still investigating. And who knows, they might have some answers they may not be ready to share with us yet, because it might impact their investigation, which ultimately is for our benefit, but at the same time, they have to communicate. So I do feel the conflict, and I did see the conflict that was going on there. The security, the safety that we must, that they must tell us to exhibit, it's absolutely important in the Ottawa area. Even if they're still investigating, or even if they know why and how this developed or what will happen, that's still something that needs to be paid attention to. And so I think that this is going to develop, continue developing. And I don't know, I haven't seen the markets in the last, throughout this, but I bet there isn't much activity going on.
The TSX was down certainly over 200 points. We're now down 195 on the day, so down 1.34%. U.S. markets, the Dow down 115.
So not much change from before and after. So I do feel the conflict, and I do feel that this is probably going to continue. One other thing that I think I heard is there's going to be more vigilance and more paying attention to details when calls come in and information comes in, not just as it pertains to this particular issue, but in general for security here in Canada. We said that we're not used to this. I think this probably raised or heightened our level.
Heightens the awareness.
Right.
Diana, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you staying with us. Thank you.
For inviting me.
That was Diana Avigdor, Vice President and Portfolio Manager, Head of Trading at Barometer Capital Management.